All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and the continuation of our BCBA practice questions series. We're going through another set of questions together and breaking them down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please like and subscribe. Check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials, including our combo pack. When you pass, please let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. An advisor for a group of students working on their master's thesis encourages the students to improve the believability of their data. He is concerned that some of the data may come under scrutiny if analyzed more closely. The advisor is most focused on what aspect of data? When we think about aspects of data, we typically think about accuracy, validity, and reliability. But that fourth aspect is typically believability. If your data is accurate and you're measuring what actually occurred and it's valid, you're actually measuring what you intend to measure, and it's reliable, meaning you can measure the same thing over and over again, you still want it to be believable. If it isn't believable, then when you're trying to explain it to a research committee or a stakeholder, you're going to have an issue. So how can we improve the believability of the data? In other words, what is the advisor focused on here? Is he focused on A, the accuracy? Well, accuracy, like we just talked about, has to do with you measuring what actually occurred. What the advisor wants is to be able to believe what actually occurred based on your data. Same thing with validity and reliability. The thesis advisor is not questioning that you actually measured what you intended to, or that you could do it again, but he wants to see some sort of systematic way that focuses on believability. And the way we would do that is with inter-observer agreement. IOA is the best way to improve the believability of their data. The advisor isn't saying he doesn't believe it. He's just saying if analyzed more closely, there could be questions. So the best way to answer those questions systematically is through inter-observer agreement. This way, two or more people are measuring the same thing, and we can compare those two results. The more people, the more often they measure, the better. Tori has been educating her partner on the symphony for weeks now at their house using videos, books, and podcasts. Tori wants her partner to be able to engage with the symphony and enjoy the symphony as well. This week, Tori is taking her partner through the symphony and plans to measure how well her partner does during and after the real performance. What is Tori doing? We're looking at Tori's behavior, and we know so far that Tori is teaching her partner about the symphony. She's using videos, books, podcast. Now, Tori wants her partner to engage with the symphony and enjoy the symphony, but after and before and during a real performance. And so whenever you're looking at a question that has to do with teaching a skill and then later on going see if that skill can happen in the natural environment or the actual environment, you're going to start thinking about generalization immediately. And hopefully most of you already did. Again, Tori's teaching using videos, books, and podcasts. And now she wants to measure, well, okay, can my partner do what we've worked on during and after the real performance? So what is Tori doing at this point with her measurement? A general case analysis. The general case analysis is a generalization strategy that happens prior to teaching. So when Tori was planning on her teaching strategy, she may have gone to a symphony and identified stimuli in the environment that she should teach. She does essentially what's an ecological assessment to program for generalization. But she's way past the teaching part. Now she wants to take the partner to the symphony after teaching and measure how well they do. What she's doing is B, a generalization probe. After we've programmed for generalization, we've taught the skill, we've worked on it, we need to go see how effective has it been. And we do that through a generalization probe. Generalized imitation. Tori isn't imitating. If anything, her partner will be imitating Tori, but we're looking at Tori's behavior, and she's measuring her partner's behavior. And then higher order conditioning. Don't get thrown off by something that sounds technical, but has nothing to do with the question. Higher order conditioning typically has to do with a conditioned stimulus and a neutral stimulus, and it really has nothing to do with this question. It's why fluency is so important, because D, if you're not sure, can start to look real appealing. It's one of those answers that sounds good if you don't know what it means. So D is out. What Tori is doing is measuring how well her teaching went. Did her partners generalize those skills, or does she need to continue working? A behavior analyst who also acts as the clinical director for a local ABA company just hired 3 behavior technicians. All 3 have at least a year of experience working in the field and come with good recommendations. What will be the most efficient way to teach the new technicians some of the specific tasks they'll need to complete at the company? So we have a chaining question here, and we're looking for a couple different things. We want this to be efficient. So we want to be able to teach in an efficient manner. And we have some new technicians, but what do we know about the new technicians? We know they have a year of experience and they have good recommendations. And so with that year of experience and with good recommendations, we want to teach them efficiently. And so how might we go about teaching specific tasks with experienced staff in an efficient way? Well, A and B, forward and backwards chaining, might be effective, but they wouldn't be efficient. You're going to spend a lot of time with experienced technicians teaching step by step. A much more efficient way to teach people with experience or competent people is total task chaining, where you can teach the whole task all at once and then pinpoint maybe some trouble areas, some trouble steps. Total task chaining is going to be more efficient than forward and backwards chaining, which requires you to go step by step and teach step by step. Given their experience and their recommendations, the more efficient way would likely be total task chaining. We're not going to use behavior chain interruption because behavior chain interruption requires that your learner has already mastered the critical aspects. They're new tasks, they're new to the company, so we don't know they've mastered the skills yet, but based on their experience, what we know about them, we can likely teach the whole task and assume relatively confidently that they'll be competent enough to pick up on the task. And then the steps they don't know, we can teach those individually afterwards. That's going to be the most efficient way to teach these new technicians. Your wife had to work an 11-hour shift yesterday. Usually when she gets home, she likes to shower before eating dinner, but today she went straight to the pantry to get something to eat for dinner. She told you she was swamped all day at work and had no time to eat lunch. What is most being described here between the not eating lunch and the going to the pantry? So we're looking at not eating lunch and its effect on going to the pantry. So what do we know so far? Well, we know the wife, long shift, typically she gets home, she showers, she eats. Today, her behavior changed. She instead went straight to the pantry to eat something. How can we explain this change in behavior? Well, she worked hard all day and could not eat lunch. And so you could explain it by saying she was deprived of her lunch, which did what? Well, that increases the value of eating when she gets home. It also temporarily changes her behavior when she got home because instead of going to the shower first, she went straight to the pantry. So when we talk about not eating lunch, we can say that was a motivating operation. Deprivation led to her hunger, which led to her going to the pantry. Now, what we have is an abative effect, an evocative effect, and a function altering effect. We know it's not C. It didn't alter the function. Her behavior was still to get food. It just happened differently. So we have an abative and evocative effect. Think about motivating operations. MOs alter the value of consequences. Those are abolishing and establishing. And then they temporarily change behavior, abative and evocative. This one temporarily changed behavior and evoked this new behavior of going straight to the pantry once she got to work, because we're looking at going to the pantry. And once she got home from work, because we're looking at going to the pantry. So what is most being described here is an evocative effect. The not eating lunch had an evocative effect of going straight to the pantry when your wife got home. A behavior analyst is told that a client has been running away while transitioning to the table several times per session. The behavior analyst goes to the next session and tells the client that they will receive $10 if they run away 5 times or less throughout the whole 3-hour session. What is the behavior analyst using? So we have a differential reinforcement question. With differential reinforcement, always start by asking yourself, am I teaching a new behavior? If you're not teaching a new behavior or a replacement behavior, you can eliminate DRAs and DRIs, alternative and incompatibles. Those teach replacement behaviors. So Here, D, differential reinforcement of alternative behaviors, is out. We're not teaching a new behavior. We're just trying to reduce the behavior that already exists. Now, the analyst says, if you run away 5 times or less, I'll give you $10. So the behavior is still occurring. It can still possibly occur. And even more, it has to meet this criterion. So is it a DRO, differential reinforcement of other behaviors? No, because what the DRO, we reinforce in the absence of a behavior. So that would be more like for every 30 minutes the client doesn't run away, we reinforce. That would be closer to a DRO than where we're setting a criterion and the behavior has to happen less than the criterion. With that, do we call that a higher rates of behavior? Again, no. With higher rates, it's the opposite. We would say 5 times or more, for example. What we're doing is setting a criterion, and they're going to meet it. They have to go below that criterion to try to reduce the behavior. So what the analyst is doing is using a differential reinforcement of lower rates of behaviors. To be more specific, it's a full session DRL because the behavior has to occur the whole three, or the client has to hit the criterion across the whole session. But we're just going to focus on the broad idea of differential reinforcement of lower rates of behaviors. This type of stimulus change decreases behavior in the future regardless of the person's learning history with that stimulus. Little definition question to wrap it up, easy one to finish on. Let's break it down. We have a stimulus change. It decreases behavior in the future. So immediately we're thinking punishment, maybe extinction. And here it says regardless of the person's learning history. So we can rule out A and B. It's not reinforcing because we're decreasing behavior. Now, this idea of the person's learning history doesn't matter. What are we saying there? What we're saying is it's unconditioned. If learning history mattered, there would have to be some conditioning going on. Here, conditioning is irrelevant. So when we say unconditioned, do we mean primary or secondary? Well, we mean primary. So a stimulus change that decreases behavior is a punisher, and it doesn't involve learning history, so no pairing needed. That would be primary or unconditioned. So the type of stimulus change that decreases behavior in the future, regardless of the person's learning history with that stimulus, would be C, primary or unconditioned punisher. Thank you for watching. Check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials. Make sure you like and subscribe. Let us know when you pass so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. See you soon.